Yeah, it's kind of a rough sketch, but that's all we need. So what we have here is like a side view of the neck, pretty much, like this. And start of the body, I didn't draw everything, like the body would be a little bit longer here. Just like shortened here, we don't need that. And I put in the height for the bridge and the pickup, and all of this was just to figure out the angle of the neck pocket and the depth of the neck pocket we will need. This is of course super important, and it needs to be precise in order to get all the relations right and in order to have a nice playable string action when the guitar is finished. I think I haven't even shown this before, so this is the guitar we are building, the actual scale drawing of the body. You can pretty much tell the outline, the pick guard that we made, the pickup itself will go here, and the control elements, the bridge, yeah, we'll talk about that later, that's going to be interesting. And then on this second drawing here, this is basically like an X-ray view of the body. You can see like the cavity underneath the pick guard here, and where the pots are going to sit, neck pocket, yeah. We're back in the workshop now. I have the neck clamped up to my bench here. We just figured out the dimensions we need for the neck heel to fit into the body. And in order to prepare that, I have to take off a little bit of material of the thickness. And I'm going to do that with the good old router here. So yeah, let's put the protection on and make some dust. Yes, that's it. Final thickness. So we can actually start putting this into the body. For that we'll use this little jig we have here, and there's going to be a lot of setup work to dial it in just perfect before we route. So yeah, let's get the body in it and set it up. Yeah, so what is this funny contraption you just saw me set up here? This is the neck pocket jig, I call it. It's not my own invention, but basically you just have the guitar body clamped in here tightly and securely and on the center line, and the neck just sitting on the body clamped as well. And those two rails are snug against the neck. There's a section here just stuck on temporarily, and the point of it all is when I remove the clamp and take out the neck, I've created a custom routing template up here. So if I route out this section, I will make a pocket that fits snugly the neck heel and create like a very tight fit. And those two bars here are basically what my router will be riding on. And because I levered them up in the back here, I create like a tiniest bit of angle, so the neck sits a little bit angled in the body. Fingers crossed, right? That's the neck pocket. One final check before we take it out. Looks good. I think we can get rid of that first. Okay, let's take it out of the jig. Have a look. Okay, now for the big moment here. there's our neck pocket. This stuff here will get cleaned up later. I have to make this a little bit tighter. That's totally fine. I might have to tighten up the radii here a little bit more, but we can check if it already fits without any rework. Just for curiosity, I guess it might be a little bit tight. We can try. Yeah, I get it in there. That's a neck pocket. Just like that. It's tight around the edges here. That's what we want. And like I said, this will get cleaned up. Almost a guitar now. For critical steps like attaching the neck and actually drilling for the holes and putting inserts in there and everything, I have written down like step-by-step guides, basically in a little notebook, just to be sure, so I will look this up and work from it. The first part we have to make in order to fasten it is the neck bolt plate. It's not that giant, it's just a 2x1 scale, and this will pretty much be out of aluminum, go in the back of the guitar, and that's where the bolts go in and fasten into the neck. So like this basically. And we'll make it out of this sheet of old thick gauge aluminum. It's like beautiful tone aluminum. Yeah, that's what we're gonna use. Fine, I think. That's super rough, but it will sit here eventually later on. Lots more sanding to do, right? Yeah, nail file. This is an absolute lifesaver and like a magic trick here for making small metal parts like that. So the outside surface is pretty much done. Some small spots maybe, but we're getting there. And of course the surface is super rough, but I will take care of that later. Now it's time to actually position it on the body and drill the body holes. And I will use this as a template. It's just so I can make sure that the holes line up perfectly. That's why I made this part first, and now I use it to mark the position of the holes. This is like the theoretically correct position for the holes. But the final position will be dictated by this piece going on here. And I will just use this to position it precisely. To make sure I'm square, of course. And the thing on the back was to prevent blowout on the holes. Chip out. And they look pretty clean too. That's what we wanted, right? Just a little bit here maybe. For the neck connection itself, I opted to use these threaded inserts here, just for stability and repeatability reasons. And I will use metric screws going into them. And you probably wondered why I'm drilling these massive holes in the neck, and they're to accept these ones. And to set them in really straight, I mean, it looks straightforward, but there are actually a couple of tricks to it. So first of all, I won't put them in by hand, but I will use this little makeshift tool in my drill press here. Next little secret is to use some paste wax. And actually, if you're going into hardwood, it helps if you really apply some wax to the thing. That's a trick I learned from watching boat building videos again. Always put some wax on your fasteners. A little bit more is probably fine. It just reduces the friction when going in, because those obviously have to do a lot of work cutting the threads. And this way you minimize the chances of tear out. Same thing for the holes in the neck. I will just apply a tiniest bit of grease in there as well. Or wax in this case, not grease. Just use a bolt. Squish it around. There's some grease in the hole. Now finally, the idea is the drill press will guide me to keep it straight. I'll press it down the arbor here. I need 4 arms for this. Now it's working the way it should. Ah, yes, that's it. Nice insert in the neck. Yes, and reverse. For the first time, one piece, solid guitar. Yeah, for carving this neck profile, I plan on using a technique called faceting, and that's basically you mark straight lines on here and cut off, like it says, facets in the neck. Like you start off at 45 degrees and then you get increasingly finer facets and you get closer to a rounded profile. In the end you can round it off and you're almost, or you're pretty close to straight and even profile. So the first step for me will be to make some marks and some lines, and then we can start cutting. Now we want the halfway points of these, basically here. This doesn't need to be super precise at this point. I'm just going to connect those. Of course, pencil runs out. And as you see, I've now created the two lines that form my first facet. So I'm going to remove the material from here down to here. Create like a 45-degree angle, almost, not exactly. And then do the same on the other side. And I plan on doing it with this funny little tool I want to show you here. This is like called a saw rasp, I believe. And if you look closely, this is like a riveted together section of many individual saw blades in this funny like wave pattern here. And this is like a regular wood file in how you use it, but it removes much more material much quicker. And the holes mean like the chips don't clog it and they can just fly out. I love this thing, so yeah, let's try how it works here. Yeah, the bulk is removed, but for the transitions, I'm gonna go back to this one very quickly here. The first two segments are cut here, and if you look closely you can see are already marked as some more lines, and those will be the next two facets. So I'm going to remove this part here. That's basically like the middle line of the facets I just made. And then after that the one down here. Same on the other side, and this will get us closer to the nice round profile we want. The faceting process is finished right now. So of course, as you can see, this is not a smooth neck profile yet, but I have like a repeatable starting place. And now the next step, of course, is like fine-tuning the profile to exactly where I want it and making sure that it's like really nice and smooth and I don't have any dips or anything in there. But yeah, this is much closer to a neck already than before, right? Mal gucken, dass ich nicht zu viel abschleife.
Ja, okay, kannst.
Okay. Now let's have a look. I think that's pretty nice so far. There's obviously like some tiny things can still refine, but I will do that before we go into painting and final sanding. So yeah, the neck shape is, I suppose, 95% done. And there's one more thing we have to do before we can go into the final sanding process, and that is drilling the holes in the headstock for the tuning machines. So okay, let's go ahead, mark those out and drill them. It's moving, of course. Yeah, that seems all right. Okay. Time to drill. Yeah. I'm not just double checking, I'm literally, I'm triple checking here just to make sure my lines are on point, because this operation is kind of scary. You definitely don't want to mess it up at this stage, right? There's like so much work in the neck already. And if I drilled in the wrong place now, I'd have a bad time, seriously. Okay, clean first hole. 5 more to go. Yeah, that's 6 perfect holes and no grain splits or blowouts or anything. And if I done right, they should be in a line, which they are. Perfect. Now let's do a quick test fit. Obviously I haven't drilled for the ferrules on the other end, but just to get a sense for how this might look, you can just put them in there and see. Should be in a straight line, obviously. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to look like. Yeah. Now that looks like a guitar to me. It's gonna be much nicer, obviously, once all the hard corners here are sanded and smooth. You can already get a sense for how the transitions are going to run into here. It's gonna be much smoother then. Yeah, but already it's lightweight. I like it. Not much sound coming from it yet, but yeah, I'm excited. This feels nice.